we're in chapter 13. We actually started chapter 13 last week. We didn't, and we got through part of maybe half of it, but we're going to just review some of that. First thing you have to know is you have a Yetzer Hara and a Yetzer Tov. Most of us, right? Rabbi Solish only has a Yetzer Tov, but
we're supposed to stop.
All that from the chocolate chip cookie.
Right, there you go.
Right, go fine.
Okay. And if you come here and you're personally here, you get a chocolate chip cookie. But since you didn't come, you don't get your chocolate chip cookie. I'm sorry. So you have three adjudicators in your life. Three adjudicators. One is your Yetzer Tov, the other is your Yetzer Hara. And who's the third one? So we said it works like this, that they're not controlling you, they're giving you their opinions. One of them says, do this, and the other one immediately jumps in and says, no, we're not doing that, we're doing the opposite. Who's going to win? You got two judges. The third one, right? We say the halacha goes according to the third opinion. Third opinion always wins. Always wait to be the third opinion. If you jump in right away, you lost, okay? Third opinion, okay? Then you can always say, I want to be on the winning side. And so you wait for them to make a fight and then you come in. Okay, so the third opinion is a very interesting one. It says, Talmud says, well, that's God. He says, he stands to the right of the impoverished to save them from those who judge his soul. What's it talking about? So in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe explains, what does that mean that God comes and helps you? It means that as soon as your divine soul gets up the resolve that no, we are not doing this, and means it, then it has it's connection. It's the light of the soul shines. The light of the soul shines. That shine of the soul, that's the divine aspect of the soul. That's God. So that's what it means. It doesn't mean that the divine soul says, I'm going to call my big brother, and he comes in. No, that doesn't mean that. It means the soul has that connection, but you have to decide, yeah, I'm not doing this, I'm doing like this. And then immediately there's light. What happens to darkness when there's light? It's gone. I told you about that story when light wanted to meet darkness, told you that one. Well, but
he wasn't here, so you have to tell it again.
I wasn't
Please.
listening either.
No, you weren't here. Okay, I got
Good.
I don't know if Ramon was here. I think Ramon was here. Tova was probably, but I'll tell it again. So the light's in a room. Somebody goes to light and says, light, have you ever met darkness? No, I never met darkness. Would you like to meet darkness? Always, everybody talks about darkness. I never met darkness. I'd love to meet darkness. Well, darkness is right here in the next room. You want to come in and meet darkness? Sure, let's go. Open the door. So where
I'm sorry, he was right here.
He was right here. So as soon as the Yetzer Tov, which is that's the emotional aspect of the divine soul, as soon as your divine soul decides this is what we're going to do, it doesn't have to put up a fight. It just has to resolve, and the light shines and everything disappears. So you see always this big specter, like it's impossible, there's no way out of this, it can't be done. As soon as you decide, no, this is what we're going to do, and that's it, just sissies out, and it's gone. Okay, that's what we're going to do, I don't know if you ever had like a business partner like that, or somebody else. No, we're not going to do this. And you say, I'm sorry, that's what we're going to do. Okay. Yeah, you had those experiences. So that's why, because the beast, the Yetzer Hara, it's all just darkness. And this is light. So there's no challenge. The challenge is turn on your lights. That's it. But once the light's on, you're there already. So that's that glow. Now, so you think, oh, I just got the glow on, I got the light on. I am a tzaddik. No, you're not a tzaddik. And that's what we learned at the very beginning of Tanya, that before you were born, according to the Talmud and Nida, before you were born, You were given an oath, right? Be good, don't be bad, right? Be a tzaddik, don't be a rasha. And even if the whole world tells you, you're such a tzaddik, right? You've had people tell you.
Yeah, that's all the time.
Okay, you're such a tzaddik, you're such a tzaddik. Says, no, don't believe them. You should consider yourself to be like a rasha. It doesn't mean you consider yourself to be wicked. You're not allowed to consider yourself to be wicked. But like a rasha. That's what he's going to explain now. That's what's left inside, the bottom of the first page. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't get to put side by side the Hebrew and English yet in this because it's just a pain in the neck and I'd rather have my secretary do it. But we got the English at least. Nevertheless, the bad within the left chamber of the Beinoni, right? That's the Beinoni, where the Beinoni, the guy stuck in between, remains, okay? The bad, right? You remember you got the left side and the right side of the heart. And in the left side, which is like that strong pump that's pumping all the blood through your body all the time, your body constantly needs that left side, right? That's getting blood through. That's where the animal soul principally resides. That's its headquarters. And the right side, that's where the right side has all the big signs, come get oxygenated over here, right? Mm-hmm. Blood comes there so we can get oxygen, get pumped through the lungs. That's residence of the divine soul. Divine soul, principal residence is in your mind, mm-hmm. and it has regional headquarters in the heart. And your animal's principal headquarters in the left side of the heart, it has regional headquarters in the brain, the other way around. So, okay, this left side of the heart, we learned in chapter 10, the tzaddik takes it over. Mm-hmm. In the tzaddik, the right side spills over to the left side. And now he's no Yetzer Hara. It's all good. He never has an urge to do anything bad. He only feels like doing good, like good, or it's a choice between good or better, but it's not just a choice between good and bad. He doesn't have that. He's overwhelmed it. He may even have been to be a perfect tzaddik. He transformed it. Mm-hmm. He made the beast into a divine beast. He made his Yetzer Hara into Yetzer Tov, and he has 2 Yetzer Tovs. Okay, but for the rest of us, we may feel dominance. I'm winning down. I beat him down every argument. I shine the light, but the beast is still there. Beast is still there. It didn't get any weaker. You haven't overwhelmed it. You haven't weakened it by yelling it down. In fact, it's getting stronger every day. So you haven't won a war. You may be winning battles, but basically what you're doing, I think, can best be described as deterrence. Deterrence, like what America and Russia played for the entire Cold War.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow!
No, this is
like we're really special.
People don't know what you're missing.
Oh my God!
Who's getting bar mitzvah?
Yeah.
Hashtag Ari's going healthy.
David Block just found out that the strawberries came in and he came back to the class.
Yeah.
So don't forget a bracha borei priya 8 on the grapes, and that's the strawberries are borei priya adama. They're they grow on the ground, on the trees. So we're saying that you have to know. This is what they meant when they gave you that oath. You have to know, how do you know you're a tzaddik? Maybe you're just winning every time. Maybe it's just deterrence. Mm. Maybe you're so good at deterrence that that they're not letting you know. They're collecting their missiles. They're arming themselves. They're getting everything together. They're waiting for a point of weakness, and then they're going to come at you, right? You don't know. You think everything's quiet in the Western Front, everything's fine. But you don't know. I had a friend who was a wrestler, and like in a wrestling league. I don't know if he did boxing, but he was in wrestling. And so I asked him to describe it to me. He says, "Well, you're not going to win by being stronger than the other because they match everybody. You know, your weight, your height, and everything. And you're going to wrestle with a guy who's exactly the same height, the same weight as you. And you're going to be down on the ground with him. And you get to a point where you don't know, is that my toe or is it his toe? You don't know. Right? You feel like it's one body. That's what you're feeling. And that's what you're doing. You're just feeling and sensing, you know, like a spider feels with its web, feels what the fly is doing. Mm-hmm. You're feeling what's happening with him. And you're waiting for the moment of weakness. You're making sure you don't have that moment of weakness, and you're waiting for his moment of weakness, and then you're going to get it. That's it. So he said it's a mind game. It's just focus, concentration, waiting for that moment. So that's the situation we're in. We're constantly in that wrestling struggle, and we're entangled, a divine soul and an animal soul, entangled with one another. Totally entangled. So it's like, you know, the story of Yaakov and Esau, Jacob and Esau, right? And to get the blessings of Esau, he has to dress in his brother's clothes. And he dresses up and he looks like a hairy Esau, right? And he gets those blessings. We never took those clothes off. We have we are a divine soul dressed up within that beast, walking around like that. So that's this wrestle going on all the time between Yaakov and Esau inside you. So you're going to think, well, I got him pinned down. He's gone. No way you can get away right now. One moment of weakness, second. So you don't know. You haven't won. It's just deterrence. The tzaddik has won. You haven't won. That's the situation. So nevertheless, the bad within the left chamber of the Beinoni remains just as strong as the day you were born, continuing to crave its cravings for all the pleasures of this world. It hasn't been overwhelmed into significance relative to the good. It hasn't been pushed at all from its place. It hasn't budged. Yeah.
So I guess I'm a little confused. I guess the impulse is like to fight it off. But you said something like almost like the darkness and the light, that just being good and like staying like the business partner thing, like just being pure, just, you know, being almost like simple or just like pure, and like almost like if you're water, instead of trying to crush the rock, you just hit the rock and you flow like easily. Like it's almost like being like in a very simple state. You could beat the evil. Where if you try to clash the evil like directly, like, and you have more resistance and more energy, it's almost more difficult than if you're more passive.
I think it's very comparable to fighting like people who try to fight anti-Semitism have the same issue.
Oh, like the ADL.
Right. The more you fight it, the stronger it gets.
Right. Where
Right. So as soon as you're...
and that's the impulse, but it's wrong.
The people who have this urge to post... videos of anti-Semites so they can say how wrong they are, you know. Why are you giving them more airtime? You know, what was the point behind that? So as soon as you say to Yetzer Hara, what are you trying to make me do? I'm not going to listen to you. You got its attention, right? It got your attention. It got your attention. Chava, Eve, was in the garden and there's a snake, right? The snake says, you sure you're allowed to eat the fruits of the garden? And she says, oh, we can eat all the fruits of the garden. But just fruit from that tree we can't eat. That was a mistake. Well, what are you talking to a snake? You're telling me what to do. Well, I don't have to get lost. Don't even say get lost. A snake told you, why are you eating from it? Just ignore it. Why are you listening? Just ignore it. Okay, there's some anti-Semites you have to just punch them in the face. I don't know, leave them bloody on the ground. But otherwise, you just walk away. What's the big deal?
Did you read Brett Stevens' article on anti-Semitism?
Brett Stevens?
He used to write for the Wall Street Journal, now he writes for the New York Times. He's Jewish, and he's really Jewish. And he says, ignore it, live your life as a Jew. As much as you just be a real Jew. There's no use arguing.
I got a call from the Jewish Children's Museum. They said the school board, New York City School Board, wants us to make a video to counter anti-Semitism. And I said, what's supposed to be there? Like Nazis, swastikas, that's that Holocaust, Jews behind barbed wire. I said, we're not doing any of that. Not doing any of that. And we just made something about seeing the good inside every person, basically Jewish values for humanity. And that's the only way.
Okay.
So this is, yeah.
Caleb, when the spies came back, Caleb gave the answer as to how to fight all the haters. He said, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. And then he said, let me tell you, okay, so that's what you don't do. Now what do? You got to refocus. He said, let me tell you about Moses. And they got all excited because they thought he was going to slander Moses to stop from getting stoned or whatever. He said, Moses has done amazing things for us. Everything God told him to do, he did. And we could climb to heaven on ladders if Moses taught us. So number one, just don't listen to all the voices. I do have a question for you, because it seems like a lot of this internal conflict that we have is actually from other voices that penetrated our subconscious, that really runs the show, and it's negative influences and criticism and shame and blame. Is that part of the Yitzhar right now that we're battling, if we're battling all the self-doubt? And
That's the clothing of the
Judaism.
Yitzhar. So let me go one step at a time. The first thing, the thing with color, is it's very instructional. I'll show you why. First thing, when the spies are giving the report, and people are getting very, very nervous, even though they didn't say any lies. That's exactly. But they should have consulted with Moses first. But they're giving the report. Everybody's getting very nervous. Kalev quietens everybody. What does he say? He says, like I said, is this all that Ben Amram has done for us? Like they started to call him son of Amram. He didn't call him Moses. They thought you're going to criticize. He says he did all these other things. Even if he said we should go up to the heavens, we'll do it. And people listened. When he said that, even if we could say, even he would tell us to go up to the heavens, right? Do the impossible.
Exactly.
We could do it. People listened to that. Only then the spies went on. After that, they had a chance to counter the spies again. It was Kalev and Yehoshua. When Kalev and Yehoshua speak together, they tell the people, no, we can do it because the Sartzi Elam, the people who are protecting them, are no longer there, because they're really not so big, and they give rational reasons.
Yeah.
And they totally lose. The people want to stone them. So when Kalev says, doesn't matter, we just do it, no arguments, we can do it. People are listening. You start rationalizing and explaining to them, forget it.
It's done.
Who was it? Jonathan Swift, who said,
Yeah.
the Gallagher's Travels, he says, you can't walk somebody out of a place with reason when they didn't get there with reason to begin with. Right? So you just have to show we can do it. That's it. So the other thing you're saying about all the voices in your mind, where they come from. So you start off as a child, and you had a lot of delight as a child. Look at a child enjoying life. Don't you wish you could just lose yourself into the giggly delight of that child? Everything is so much fun and so. And then this drive to get more and more pleasure starts getting into is this going to be fun? Am I going to enjoy this? Can I get more of this? What's in it for me? And more and more, this sense of self gets tangled into that. And you start picking up all this stuff from all around you. This person likes me. This person doesn't like me. These people are against me. These people are for me. And you're gaining all this. What you're doing is you got an essential pleasure drive inside you, this little engine, and you're investing it, clothing it in more and more clothing, and it's getting this whole fortress built all around it until you built a fortress that you can't get yourself out of. So the hard work is to divest yourself of all those all that clothing, all that traffic. Take that fortress apart brick by brick. Say, this is stupid. I don't need this. I don't need that. And no, not to listen to this voice, not to listen to this voice. And it's very tedious work. So the easiest way to do it is just turn on the lights. Know where you are going, what it is you want to achieve, be inspired about it, keep thinking about it, become obsessed with it. Find another obsession. And that just tears down the whole thing. So the point over here, though, is that as much as you do, you can go on an entire life doing everything right, but you never really uproot. Like you can't lose memory. Like there's no such thing as an ex-addict.
Oh,
There's no such thing as trauma recovery. It's never lost.
the traumas.
There are no memories that are lost. They are there. So the fact is, there is such a thing as a tzaddik, and the tzaddik can overwhelm it to the point that it's not going to bother him at all. And there is such a thing as a really great tzaddik who can actually turn that completely around and make it into a force for good. But even that's not something we can talk about. What most people are going to be left, 99.9% of people are going to be left with, is all of life is going to be not a journey, but a battle. Always. And you're always going to be, I have to be on the alert, which means just every day you need to find more inspiration than you had the day before. You can't have the same amount of inspiration because the beast has been arming itself and growing bigger and bigger. So you need more and more and more. And that's how you build up. So it says, it's only that this bat has no executive control that allows it to reach outward into the limbs of the body. And that is only because God comes to the aid of the destitute, shining upon the divine soul, because you got your lights on. That's the only reason, and only as long as those lights are on. That's why the Beinoni is considered to be like a Rasha, as the rabbis put it. They say that an oath administered to the unborn includes that even if the whole world will tell you that you are a tzaddik, yeah, people tell you that all the time, don't you? Yeah. You should be in your own eyes like a Rasha. That doesn't mean you should consider yourself an actual Rasha. Rather, it means you should consider yourself a Beinoni. A Beinoni means you should feel, I'm walking a tightrope over here. I'm right on the edge. I'm right in the middle. There's two sides, and I got to keep my lights on. You shouldn't put your faith in the world that tells you that the bad within you has been overwhelmed by the good. That's the level of a tzaddik. Rather, in your eyes, you have to see that the essence and core of the bad is just as strong in the left chamber as the day you were born. None of it has departed from you. On the contrary, it's been fortified over time as you employed it for eating and drinking. Every time you eat and drink everything, it gets stronger and stronger. So you have to get stronger and stronger. And you might be a person whose only desire is in God's Torah, and you labor over day and night purely for the sake of learning God's Torah. Like you're totally into that, 100%. I remember a guy, I had several people I saw who were addicts, and they decided to turn their lives around. And, addicts are very rare, addicts who really succeed, like, especially from alcohol, heroin, yeah? Okay. But I admire you, because I've seen what these guys have to go through.
It took a lot.
Yeah. You what?
It took a lot.
Took a lot. But so what several guys told me is that they had to become addicted to something else.
Yeah, it metastasizes to other things. It can fitness for me.
That's a good thing.
Can be. It can also be a distraction from work.
Yeah.
Facing something, a hard discussion that you need to have.
Yeah.
Same as addiction can metastasize to procrastination, to selfishness. Because that's what addiction is, very selfish.
At the core of all of them is selfishness. At the core of everything. And selfishness is our greatest enemy, because selfish pleasure is an oxymoron. Nothing stands in the way of pleasure more than self. So you think about it. The times you really enjoy yourself, you forgot about yourself altogether. You just lost yourself. So selfishness is what stands at the core of everything. So the only way, but that's not the point. The point over here is that the only way is you become obsessed about something else. because you learned obsession. Your whole body, systemic, learned obsession. Find another obsession, a good obsession. Go into that, and that has to increase every day because every day you're running up the down escalator. Running up the down escalator. So even you're like this person who has this obsession. Your only desire is in God's Torah. You're laboring over day and night. You just want to learn God's Torah. You're obsessed. Nevertheless, you still cannot in any way assume that the bad has been pushed from its place. You can't. It's possible that the essence and core of that bad remains in all its strength in its place in the left chamber. Yeah.
So in essence, life is basically a struggle.
Yeah. Life is, like I said, life is not a journey. It's a battle, a constant. Now, I'll tell you why this is very liberating. For me, it's tremendously liberating to know. Because you try so hard, and you're doing everything right, and then you mess up. And it's the intuitively you think, so that was a waste of time, I didn't get anywhere. I'm still just as lousy, rotten, I'm still there. I haven't moved anywhere, right? I thought I went from here to there, and now I found out I'm still back there, right? That would be so if life were a journey, but it's not the way a battle works. In a battle, there's sudden changes, and you can't know where you are because as soon as you're moving ahead, that means the other opponent's moving the other direction, or maybe the opponent's like gaining strength, and so bang, things can just change like that, right? It's not like you're driving down the highway and everybody's going along with you at 60 miles an hour, or if it's in Georgia at 89, 90 miles an hour. Okay, no, you're going this way and they're coming this way. Right?
That was you.
I think this is the only state in the union you get a ticket for driving below the speed limit, right? Or at speed limit. The guys will be at speed limit. For driving at speed limit, you get a ticket.
It's 70 to 40. Under 40 is a little.
So, okay, so there's a battle is a drama. And in the battle, there's sudden shifts. And surprises right around the corner. So if you think, I journeyed, I got from here to there, you're going to be very disappointed. But I'm battling, but the other side's also battling with me. And so once in a while I slip, look, it goes with the territory. It saw that I'm getting better. So it got up its forces. It got a big injection of funds from Turkey or a big shipment of arms from Iran, and stored it up, and then surprised me. Okay, so
Cheap price.
so you pick yourself up like the little kid who just started walking. You pick yourself up and you keep going.
So if you think you won, you kind of lost because you're not battling.
Because
You're in for a big, lousy surprise.
So these remind me of like
overconfidence.
Dostoevsky and like Nietzsche, where they always they're very, I don't want to say like they're masochists, but they always believe like when you struggle, you grow.
I believe in that.
Like there's this rabbi, I love this like analogy. I always see this like YouTube video pops up every 6 months. He says like there's a lobster, and for the lobster to grow, it has to feel pain.
Yeah, that's Dr. Tversky. Yeah,
I like this analogy. But like if it doesn't feel the pain, it can't grow into a bigger shell.
Yeah.
But it sounds like we're always in the pain. Like it sounds like if you're never in pain, you can't grow. So it's like if we're happy, is that a bad thing? Like are we supposed to always be in pain?
Right?
Because that's growing.
I told you, when are you happy? When are you enjoying yourself? When are you experiencing?
When we're not growing.
When you forgot about yourself.
So it's good.
And that's
Wait, say it again?
When you forget about yourself, that's when you're happy.
And that's good.
Yeah, so you're not going to feel any pain.
Oh.
You're not going to feel pain. You're feeling pain means you notice that you exist. Well, what are you wasting God's time with that you exist? Well, you need to know that. Boy, I'll tell you. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai his students were the foundation of everything, because his students were the ones who survived the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash and brought the Jews into a whole new era and laid the foundation for the next 2,000 years. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai So you can imagine he was a very great.
Was this Lakish's guy or different?
No, this is much earlier. That was a different Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. As in his last moments of life, he began to sob. I asked him, Rabbi, why are you crying? He says, I see the two angels coming to get me, and I don't know which way they're taking me. So everybody had to, oh, what?
Yeah.
It's Rabbi Yochanan. Like, he doesn't know which way they're taking him. But the other question is like, Rabbi, you never asked this question earlier? Like, why now? Suddenly now, you should have thought of that years ago.
It's called Musar.
So if you had have asked him that, if you would have had the audacity to that point, say, just now you're thinking, what would he have answered you? What would he have answered you? Well, Rabbi, why didn't you think, this asked this question before, what would he have answered you? He would have said, when was I supposed to ask him? There was no time.
Too busy.
I'm supposed to stop and think, which way am I going to go, to heaven or to hell? I got stuff to get done over here. I got to learn some more time. I've got people who need me. I have things to do. There's so many mitzvahs, everything. I got to serve God. I don't have time to think if he's going to send me to hell or not.
So I know.
Do you understand what he's saying? So he's saying, I don't have time to think whether I'm going to go to heaven or hell. I got mitzvahs to do.
So is he saying more or less all this self-care is bullshit?
Which
Self-care, like everyone talks about self-care. So is that
if it starts with the word self, it's bullshit.
There you go. If it's
Interesting.
It never ends. It never
Because that's
ends.
what we're told. Like, oh, you gotta do self-care and all that.
That's how therapists make their money. You talk about yourself, and you get sicker and sicker, so you have to keep on coming back. That's the point, right?
So what about positive affirmations? Knowing that we're a pure soul. We say it in the morning.
If it starts with the word I, it's gonna be any more self-obsession and thinking. I tell you, any time. Let's say I used to write music, so let's say I need to write andante or largo, something slow and sad in the middle of the piece. You usually have it. So one time I decided I'll say it. So I have to, in order to, I'm in a good mood today. It's like a nice day in June. It's sunny outside, and I need to write this slow part in the middle. I'm in too good a mood. So what I do, I'll close the blinds. I'll make it dark. I'll lie on the floor and get miserable, and then I'll be able to write it. I did exactly that. Lay on the floor, got miserable, went to bed. Okay, so I'll tell you, if you really need to get depressed or sad, it's very, very simple. All you have to do is sit down and start thinking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that's so true.
Myself, my situation, what people think about me. And it only takes a couple of minutes. You'll be really, really depressed. It's guaranteed. You don't have to think about anything bad. Just think about yourself.
Suffering is the obsession with oneself.
Because that is klippa. That is the core of evil. Right? What are you doing? Think about yourself. So he never even thought about, am I going to heaven or going to hell? Because here it's the last moment. It's the last moment. So maybe with some tears, I can make sure. There's another thing going on over here. How could he not know about himself? He saw that he never stopped learning Torah. He never stopped doing good. And everybody's right. He saw about himself. He never had a thought to do the wrong thing. Never.
So was he excited?
Of course, he was a great son.
But
he couldn't know about himself.
That's about self. Because it was about
Because he
self.
never thought about
Because
himself.
he says, I know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm feeling. I know what I'm saying, what I'm doing. I don't know what's at my core. I can never know why do I do the things that I'm doing. Maybe I'm doing all these things because I get so much respect for them. Maybe I do all these things because I'm just like that obsessed type of person. Maybe I learned all this Torah because I like learning Torah. So I'll tell you another one. Rabbi Chanina ben Tradian, he lived at a time after the Bar Kokhba revolt. The Romans made it very difficult for the Jews. And they outlawed teaching Torah in public, and Jews were being tortured and so on. And he was teaching Torah in public. walked with a Sefer Torah, and he taught people and gathered crowds and taught Jews. His teacher said to him, his Rebbe said to him, you know what? Don't you know they're after you? Any day now, they're going to come take you. You're a goner. Don't you know? So he thought for a moment, and he said, so Rebbe, tell me, what's going to be with me? Like, I know they're going to take me again. So what's going to happen to me? So this Rebbe says back to him, do you have any good deeds? She says, yeah, I was collecting money on Purim. You collect money to give to the poor people on Purim, and I was collecting money for Purim. And somehow it got mixed up with my own money. So I just gave the whole thing away. Oh, then Ashrei Chalkako, you're in a good spot. You're fine.
See you in heaven.
Oh, just a minute. He's going to. Why is he going to die? They're going to kill him, execute him. Why? For teaching Torah in public, right? And he's thinking, but maybe I'll go to hell. What's going on over here? Why? So this is what the author Rebbe answers. The same author answers on this one. He says, it's very simple. Rabbi Chanina ben Tradian knew he's teaching Torah in public. Maybe he feels, I'm just a rebel. If it would be outlawed, if the Romans would say, you must teach Torah in public, I'd probably do the opposite. Maybe I just like it. It's exciting. It's an adrenaline rush. I don't know. I'm just that type of fierce-minded, rebellious kind of guy. So his Rebbe recognized that and said, well, let's see if you have something the opposite of that. What would be the opposite of that? Like doing kind deeds and just being liberally giving things away. Yeah, and I did that too. Oh, then it's not a matter of just your nature. You were able to do the opposite. That means it's something real inside. Something real. But Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai couldn't be so sure. He thought maybe it's just my obsession. It's also the reason when God speaks to Abraham, it says to him, please, kachna, please take your son and go to the mountain and offer him up. Why does he say please? So the rabbi said please because God says to him, I need you to withstand this test. Because if you don't, they'll say everything else was fake. So all the other things were fake. He let Nimrod throw him in the furnace. Mm-hmm. That was fake. When God says, just leave your land and go to land, I'll show you, that was fake. He gets to the land, there's a famine there, and he still trusts God. Nevertheless, that's fake. He doesn't have a child all those years. All those things were fake. Why? Why is that fake? And why is this real?
Why is being childless fake?
So why is why? Because God promised him, I'm going to bless you, you're going to have lots of children. He doesn't have any children. So that's a great test. That's not fake. He withstood the test. All these tests he withstood. So why? Because up until that point, people could just say, well, Abraham's a man with a cause. He believes in his cause, and that's what he's pushing. It has nothing to do with God. It's his cause. It has nothing to do with God. But the fact that he could go and say, well, finally the cause has some perpetuity to it in this child, and he's the man who's been telling everybody, stop the child sacrifice, and because God says he's going to go and offer this.
Yeah.
Oh, that shows it's for real. So you have to do something that's the opposite of your nature and the opposite of your thing. That's the only way you can know or have any evidence of what's really going on at the core. But really, none of us really know what's going on at our core.
Maybe the test was to see if he wouldn't sacrifice.
Oh, that's another theory, but I don't know. That's very, very iffy. God never told him sacrifice. He says, offer him, bring him up for an offering. Never told him to sacrifice.
To sacrifice.
He didn't say, but he just understood that that's what he meant. And if you would have asked him along the way, what's going to happen? I have no clue. I don't see any.
Wait, didn't we go over that with when you're trying to break a bad deed? The real test is when someone tests you to do the bad deed. Like if you stop eating pork then someone comes to you and says, eat the pork, and you
You're like,
refuse
okay.
it, then you actually broke the bad deed. Remember we spoke
Yeah,
about that?
yeah.
It's the same
same
concept.
situation.
It's just
the same
going
situation.
opposite. Yeah.
Similar, or?
But what if
Yeah.
it's Yom Kippur
Yeah.
and the doctors say you must eat in order to live? And there are people who say, I'm not going to eat.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. The same God who says you shouldn't eat on Yom Kippur says, you in this situation, you must eat on Yom Kippur.
That's good.
So what is it? Why is it you're not eating? If what your interest is, I got to do what God says. So God says eat in this situation.
To live.
Yes. If it's just, this is my tradition, I don't do that. So what's it got to do with God? So okay, at the end of the day, none of us know what's really going on inside us at the very core.
But that's interesting. Like true love. So, like, if you take it like a more abstract view, like true love or true dedication is going against your nature for the real cause, for the cause.
It's not that's the evidence. In other words, Rabbi Hanina ben Tradion may have been doing it all for the right reason. What he couldn't know until he sees that he's able to do the opposite. When they left Egypt, it says they went through the sea, and the sea was a wall for them to the right and to the left. And that's how they got out of Egypt. The sea was a wall to the right and to the left. So the Rebbe said a beautiful thing on it. You can't go, somebody asks you, what's the direction out of Egypt? If somebody tells you it's to the right, they're wrong. If it's to the left, they're wrong. Which is the right direction? You have to be able to go to the right and the left at the same time. You'll get out of your Egypt.
How do you do that?
You have to be able to do opposites. The only way to get out of your limitations, your boundaries that you've set yourself, your self-definition is by being a paradox. You have to be able to do opposites. In other words, whatever is required of me at the time.
Out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, always. And as soon as that becomes your comfort zone, you got to go the other way.
So struggle out of it.
Yeah. So if you have a beautiful schedule the whole day long and everything's scheduled, once in a while you got to be able to go without a schedule. And if you never have a schedule, then for sure you better get a schedule fast. But you always have to be able to do it. Right now, I mean, when you're a parent, that your kids teach you this. Like you've got an important thing to really take care of right now, but the kid comes along and wants your attention. Okay, you got to do that.
Yeah.
You slip right out of that and into this. You got to do that. So never go in one direction. You're in Egypt again.
So the example with Yom Kippur. So do you eat
If the doctors say that you are putting your life in danger by not eating, you must eat.
If you could die, I'm not taking medication, taking food.
Not even if you could die, but if you could maybe putting yourself into a dangerous situation that will put you in a dangerous, I mean, mortally dangerous situation. If it's just, I might catch cold, and that's not a big deal. But
But the life or death.
So Rabbi, as far as forward progress in our lives, there's getting out of Mitzrayim, whatever that is for us, escaping that or removing ourselves from it. Then we're kind of like, I feel like I've been kind of stuck in neutral, because is it necessary to so I want to do what God wants me to do, right? So but on a personal lifestyle basis, I know what the mitzvot are, but that's not my personal, like, you're a writer, I'm a writer, so it's more specific. But to when we're recreating ourselves, if we want to recreate ourselves, that's why it's about the positive affirmations, because it's easy for me to get out of the negative, it's easy for me to get into neutral, but then to redefine, recreate, I don't want to do something that just arbitrarily. I want to get in the positive direction. I know we can't reprogram, decades of programming is subconscious. So
there are good things to contemplate that can help you change your behavior. You need to contemplate along with the behavior, but there are good things to contemplate that'll change it. And instead of thinking, what's my situation, where am I, so on, you think about in the bigger scene. What am I in this universe?
What am I needed for?
What am I needed for? What's my place? What's most needed of me right now?
Yeah.
You contemplate what's the best way to deal with these other people. Well, how are they feeling? Not what am I feeling, but what are they feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I say this, how will that make them feel? Okay. If they're being this way to me, maybe it's because I'm that way to them. What way? But instead of thinking of that, think of, well, how should I be to them? You know, so many people who obsess over what is everybody thinking about me. Well, the last person in the universe to figure out what they are thinking about you is you. They don't even know what they're thinking about you, if they are thinking about you. But you're never going to be able to figure out what they are thinking about you, right? So they're probably thinking, what is he thinking about me? So, but one thing you can do, you can know how to make them think nice about me. Yeah. That's a no-brainer. Right? So how do I do that? You know, so there are better things to think about than myself. A lot better, more constructive. So when we talk about, you think about God, you think about the universe, you have a soul, you think about these things, you contemplate them deeply, you try to shift your conception of reality into a more reasonable one, because our intuitive conception of reality is really, really dumb. I did not create the universe. We all seem to think that we created the universe, but I mean, wait, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so what is it? Who did? What is it? How did it get here? What's my place in it? How did I end up here? What's going to happen after my time here? When God says to me, what did you do with the life I gave you? What am I going to answer? Those are good things to contemplate.
Yeah. Up to a certain point, it was good.
What you mean? With the life that
The last question.
The life that God gave me, that thing.
Yeah.
That's going to be your answer.
Up to a certain point.
Up to a certain point, and then you came and interrupted. Until you interrupted me, everything was going fine.
That's it. And then your growth started.
Yeah.
Then the challenges started.
The struggle.
Right.
Then you get to take care of your grandchildren and great grandchildren from your place up there. And so it doesn't end. Mother's never end. Mother's lives never end. So it goes on and on. Goes on and on. So next week we're going to get to in more of this mind over heart through meditation. Meaning mind over heart. Many times we get mind over heart in Tanya, and it's presented in different ways. And this one is going to be mind over heart through contemplation, which we're talking about now. That's one means of the mind ruling over the heart, contemplation. And there are other ways. Sometimes mind over heart means just, we are not doing that now. But sometimes it means, let's think about this instead, and think about it deeply. So there's other ways of getting mind over heart. And from there, we get into, we answer the question with Rava, and we're going to talk about relative levels of truth. So you've got this pages, and you can read through it. Prepare for next week. Next week also happens to be, just by chance, the third day of Tammuz, which is the Rebbe's yahrzeit. So we'll have some stories, some things to think about that. Have a fantastic week. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.